Dr. Peter Flynn. Welcome to episode 7.
Very, very excited to be here today. The little schnout continuing to grow.
Yeah, consistent snout. I'll give you that much. For those of you who are joining us, thank you, first of all. Hit that like button below and subscribe to get updates. We are going from 30K to $1 million in as quick as of a time as possible. Investing in our own businesses. So doing some private equity where we're just creating our own businesses and having some fun along the way.
Having some fun, and I've got a special surprise today because I tried to take a massive leap forwards last night. It didn't pay off, but I'll go into it a little bit later.
That's fantastic because I have a special surprise today as well. This is surprise week. So you
surprise
guys
week. I just lost all of your audio, Benji. That's all right. We're back. I can hear you now.
I think we're back on my microphone. That might happen. I might just cut that in post, or maybe I won't. Another surprise.
Surprise. Can't hear him. I just mute you or something.
Yeah. All right, sharing screen. So this is our tracker. As most of you should know. You can see that Pete is taking a flying lead over here with a very long snout. This is the S&P 500. So this is our baseline, what we're comparing ourselves against. Now, that had a very good week this week. It's up almost $300. And so I've got a couple of things. I might just lead with my special treat for Pete. If you guys remember, it was actually, I went back because I've had a little bit of success in one of my investments. And I went back and I tried to look at the podcast where I invested in it. And it was funny enough, was our least viewed podcast. So I'll link it up in the description below. But I bought an Apple Curio card. Do you remember that, Dr. Pete?
I do.
Now, I bought the Apple Curio card because it is essentially, we went through this year. I won't do it all again because it explains it all in that episode. I'll link it up at the right timestamp as well. Basically, it's one of the first artworks ever minted to the Ethereum blockchain. And by one of, they're pretty sure it is like the first artwork. And so I bought number 1, which is this Apple right here. I bought him at about somewhere back here. He was $2,600. And as you can see right here, he's shot up over the past week. He's currently priced at 15.4. His latest transaction here was 15,100. He's currently priced at 15,400. He had a high. And this was no more than 30 hours ago of $35,000 is where he's peaked out, and he's dropped back. And I chose not to sell him at said peak because I do believe in this curio and I really couldn't let him go. But it actually brings my snout for the first time in a while well ahead of Dr. Peter Flynn.
That is big.
112.63. And also slightly ahead of the S&P 500.
Look at this little jump on the right here. That's ridiculous.
It's hilarious. I was actually playing around with this before too because I was putting like $1 million down here because I'm like, yeah, imagine if we can do that. And I came back up to visualize it. It's like, dude, the little jump, the massive QR card, it's like, it's nothing. It's the tiniest little ramp ever. So I'm like, yeah, we got work to do. And I do appreciate my friend Pete because it was priced at $35,000 earlier this week, which it like took my total up past the 60, which as you remember, Pete, last week I pledged not to have shiny object syndrome until I was at 60K. And so for the last week, I was sitting over 60K. I'm like, I can do whatever shiny stuff I want. But I do appreciate this challenge because I know that Dr. Pete, who's had a very good week, is also very fired up. And instead of sleeping in the trophy room, polishing my curio card, I know I've got to get back to work, put my head down. Hope that curio card continues to increase in price, but also get my Etsy store moving, which I'll talk about next.
And just on that curio card, obviously crypto's had a really big week, and the Ethereum network in particular. You said that's the first one on the Ether network. Are they linked together? The reason that that's shot up so much?
Somewhat. So Ethereum is way up, and we can actually just show everybody because if you're watching this a year from now, it could be a very low price or it could be a very high price, but it's at 3,100, and you can see this. This is the last 7 days. It's just shot up. Last 7 days from, I believe, 2,000. Oh no, not quite, 2,500. So it's had a very big bull run. So the NFTs that are minted on the Ethereum network somewhat reflect the Ethereum price because there's a lot more money in the market. So a lot of people, because you purchase in Ethereum as well, so a lot of more money is being moved. There's more volume going on, so more people are going to pay higher prices. But it's also somewhat detached from that because it does have utility, or it is artwork. So it sort of rides the bulls of the crypto. But fingers crossed, it hasn't historically, just like CryptoPunks, which someone got offered $175 million for CryptoPunk this week as well, which we can jump into this. Lots to discuss about that. But something like CryptoPunks, which was the second ever minted to Ethereum network, have just consistently appreciated over time. So it definitely is helped by an Ethereum bull run, but I hope it then separates itself from it.
Unreal. So good. Well, mine is not going to be half as impressive as this because
yours is very impressive. I'll just round up with one more move I made this week. So this is my overall portfolio. Funko Pop. I'm new into Funko Pop, and I'm a big fan. It's actually down. I was up 4% on the first day that I got into it, and then it dropped 6 or 7% in one day. And I'm just like, wow, that's a big drop. And it dropped, you'd have to be curious in this, it dropped post earnings where it absolutely smashed its earnings. And I'm actually thinking of doubling down into it. This was a DumbMoney trade because, as you know, Etsy and DumbMoney are my two things. And this was a DumbMoney trade. I can go through a little bit later exactly why I got into this. We have the document here that backs it up. And apart from that, Apple went down a decent amount. I think it was at 148 last week. Discovery came up a little bit. And apart from that, I haven't made any moves. So Curio's been doing all 7,000% of the work, which is why I'm still motivated to put my head down and get to work on an actual business.
That is unreal on the card. What, are you looking at doubling down on further NFTs? And is that something that you're looking at getting more into?
I've done a bit of NFTs outside this challenge. It seems to be a little bit shiny. So some like that Curio card, I'm not worried about it going back to zero because it's a piece of history. It's the first piece of artwork and the first in the collection of an NFT minted to Ethereum. And that's why it's gone up so much this week. It's finally being realized. It's sort of like that social arb trading where you know a piece of information that the mainstream don't know, and slowly mainstream catch up to that. The mainstream hasn't caught up to this yet, but the early adopters have started to catch up. So what I believe is going to happen is 12 months, 24 months from now, mainstream is going to catch up. And I hope to see that in the six figures, which is why I haven't sold it. But I'm not looking so much to double down on it because I think there might be better opportunities. You know, it's 10x'd over the last week. It's tough to do that again. I just wish I bought 2 of them. But there are some opportunities out there, and there's some. But I would say they're more of a gamble, more of like my IPO work, because they're just random things without much utility. I do follow one guy, Alex Becker. He used to be in his mastermind. He used to be in ecom, but now he's a crypto NFT guy. And he talks about the next wave of NFTs that are going to be profitable are the ones that are associated with video games. So ones you can use. And actually Funko, and we can get into this further in once we get your update. Funko just came out with a lot of their new NFT drops, sold out in 7 minutes, I think. Marvel dropped yesterday as well, their first set of NFTs. So there's a lot of movement in the NFT world. And with these big brands coming in, that's going to pull the mainstream sort of in. But yeah, I'm not going to focus too much on it because it is more of a gamble because I don't know that much about them. But something like a Curio card, if I can come across information like that again, then I'd be very happy to dive in.
Yeah, wow. I would absolutely. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm going to go find some Marvel NFTs purely just for myself because I love Marvel. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you should, because these are the ones like the first ever Marvel NFT. Maybe not 2 years from now, but maybe 10 years from now. It's like that's the collector's item. That's the vintage sort of thing.
So good. What a time. All right. Well, if I jump into mine, then, like I said, not quite as exciting as yours. But the first thing I did last night, I was out with my boy Robbie. We went out for dinner, sat down and had the $1 million meal, which is where you sit down with a friend of yours or a group of friends and you go, all right, well, Benji, if I had a gun to your head and said you had to make $1 million in the next year, how would you do it? Like, what would you do? Where would you start? What were the things that you'd focus on? And went through that with Robbie. And obviously I related mine a little bit back to this. One thing I came up with was, well, I've actually got I had like $14 or $15 left over from my trades. I was like, what could I spend $14 or $15 on? So we bought a lottery ticket.
Oh no.
In a $10 million lottery. And
that's so anti-Peter Flynn.
We were so confident. We were so confident, man. And unbelievably, we actually lost.
That's crazy. We should have a lottery ticket fund running parallel to the S&P.
Yes. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll get around that.
What was your answer to the $1 million? Or is that what you're going to be thinking here?
My answers to that were around different businesses. So it's around with the health business and going, how can I market that better? Like, how can I have a better streamline from sort of traffic and reach, converting them to leads and converting them to clients, and looking at the process of that happening. Launching our iMove course online is a big part of that. And then the Etsy and Amazon stores, they are also big winners and big parts of that. So that's sort of the 4 areas. I'm like, if I focus my time and energy there, we're going to be successful.
That's nice. They're big winners, and everybody stay tuned for more of that Etsy discussion, because I went pretty deep. I made my own little Jungle Scout research tool. Not actually, but a little Excel sheet where I've mapped all my competitors and how much I think they're making. And you might be surprised. Not you, Pete, because you already know, but whoever's watching.
But you might be surprised.
But you who's listening along.
So this is where I'm at the moment. We've got Tyro, which saying I'm really bullish on long term. It's sitting at $3.40, so it's currently 2% down. I've got Webjet, which is currently 7.2% up as it continues to just not give a shit about the Australian situation because the rest of the world is opening up. It's fantastic. I'm loving it. I think we see a lot of growth here, especially when Sydney and Victoria and Queensland and North Queensland and the rest of Australia comes out of lockdown. I think we're going to see some unsustainable optimism in our travel shares, in our recovery stocks. And I've also got Centre Group here, which I talked about last time, I believe, and that's 6.45% up, and that is Westfield in Australia and New Zealand.
Wow.
And they're also going to be coming out with their dividend shortly, and they're normally quite a high dividend paying stock. And I'm going to do a separate video that goes into detail about, like, why did I pick Centre Group? Why did I go into this? And a few of the little things, like if you're looking at a stock, what would you look at? What are some things you could look at to understand, is this an undervalued stock? Is this an opportunity in the future? And would you buy it? Not saying you would, but could you buy it?
Advise people to buy it, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Lottery tickets, that is financial advice. You can win that. It's also gambling, apparently. And so I'm up there, but I'm also up, if I just check the crypto, which was the other part of that little crypto index, is now worth $20,586.25. Wow. Which is up from $15,000. So we're definitely seeing the crypto market move up a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
The one thing to keep in mind there is it can move down very fast too. So it's very volatile and going up and down. Whereas these stocks we find tend to be much more, I mean, relatively, let's take Webjet out of it, relatively more stable as we're moving through. And I think as we come to the end of the year, like if we look at today, what happened in Australia, they just announced that Moderna is going to be approved within 2 weeks, which is a vaccine, and they're having 1 million that will arrive within the next week or so. And then in every month thereafter, we're getting another 3 million doses. So what that's going to do is that's going to speed up the vaccination rollout. And if we speed up the vaccination rollout, well, then we're going to be bringing that target forwards. If that target's going forwards, well, then these are 3 stocks that are going to benefit hugely. Tyro, people go to the shops, they spend money, they go tap, tap with the card. Awesome. Webjet, we start to open borders because more people are vaccinated, shoots up. And Center Group, more people go into the shops. Again, these are just recovery stocks that are poised to benefit when people start getting outside and being able to have no more restrictions. So I'm very, very excited for these ones.
Dude, you're doing well on those recovery stocks already, considering like we just came out of lockdown today, up Queensland. My family in Melbourne's back in lockdown. Sydney's been in lockdown for 4 or 5 months or something dumb. And it's like you're saying, these recovery stocks are already on their way up.
I mean, they're looking to the future. So when we get an announcement like we did today, tomorrow we can expect some. If it doesn't jump tomorrow, then I'm going to be very concerned as to why not. But when we look at it over a 4 to 6 month period, we're going to see some massive, massive jumps up.
And that's the other thing that I'm figuring out, because this is really the first time that I've done. Like when I invest, I do pick single stocks because it's more fun than the S&P. Like I go for what I know, like the Amazons, the Shopify's, basically it. But what I'm finding now is, even looking at your portfolio, I'll actually share my screen again just to gives people something to look at, is how volatile, the bigger your portfolio gets in something like this, how volatile it can actually become. Because I just got an alarm going off. For example, even my Curio card now, week to week, that can fluctuate 10. And I mean, this last 24 hours, it fluctuated $20,000. And it's like, I've got to become, and I can understand this stronger now, and this is why I appreciate this challenge, is like, as an investor, you have to like really ground yourselves in the reasons why you get into things, because then you're not riding the volatility waves with it. I'm not like, oh, please Curio card go up, or please like Funko, you got to go up. I'm like, no, I was very happy with the analysis of that, whether that's fundamental or social or technical, if you do some TA. Which, I would be surprised to see anyone do that successfully, consistently. Happy to have you on to prove us wrong. But, like even seeing you early on go from 30 up 1,200 down 1,000, I'm just like, wow, Pete's on a bucking bull. But it's like, you do have to have money in the market to make that money. And especially once these numbers start getting high, we're going to see big time swings on that money. To almost to the point where we have to be like, first to $1 million, but you have to hold $1 million for like a month.
Hold it for a month.
You have to hold for a month, otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah. And one thing I'd add in there is understanding what is your price target for buying anything. Because especially like with the Curio card, if we had a massive dip in the market, understanding at what price would I buy another one. So let's say you bought it at 2,600, but anything below 4,000, you're like, that's a bargain. The second it dips below that, what you see is people look in the rear view mirror and they go, oh, things are going down, so I don't want to buy it. Right now, as things are going up, people are looking in the rear view mirror going, everything's bloody awesome, this is sweet. So they all want to pile into the market, but they don't want to pile in when the rear view doesn't look good, which is, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. So if you understand, like, at what level underneath do you just buy because you are very confident in the long-term prospects? And that's what I think when we're looking at like NFTs and things like that for you, or even the other stocks. So for me, Center Group, whenever Center Group is below $2.70, I'm putting money in that. If it's above $2.70, I don't feel like it's hugely undervalued. It's still $2.64 or 66, which means it's still undervalued to me. Tyro is still overvalued to me. Webjet is sort of around $5.21. And anything below $5, I was putting more money into it. Anything above $5, I'm sort of sitting out. And so I'm not worried if I'm 10% down on Webjet. I'm actually really happy because I'm like, that's under my buying threshold, so I just buy more. So, and that's what, if you're watching this, I would encourage you to sort of look at, well, what's your buying threshold? And if saying drops below that and you're confident in long-term prospects, then you should be buying more. That's not advice, but you could be buying more.
Yeah, if you wanted a long snout like Pete, you could follow his advice. I mean, his opinion.
So I'm interested for you with the, let's say the Curio card, the NFT. Is there sort of a line where you're like, if they drop below this, I'd actually just go buy another one like that?
Yes, there is. And actually, it's very funny because if you go back to that original episode where I recorded my logic behind this, I said, I really want to get 2 of them, one to hold and one to sell, because I really also want to hold this piece of history and it's going to be hard for me to sell. And so when it started going up, it went to 11 Gs and then it came back to 6 Gs. And my brother was like, oh, you should wait till it like gets to 11 and then sell. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to sell it for 11. I bought it for 2,600. So it's like 4x on your return. He's just like, it's laughable that you don't want to sell that. But it's like, I'm like, I don't even know if I'd sell it for 20. And my brother was like, well, you should buy another one. And I'm like, it's fantastic logic. You know, I really should at 6G at 6Gs when it was down there, I really should have bought another one because I'm like, dude, I won't sell this for 20. It's like, well, if you're not going to sell for 20, you think it's going to go up, get another one, even though, but there was also that logic trap where it's like, well, I bought the first for 2,600. I can't buy one for 6. I can't buy one for 11,000, but hindsight, obviously 2020. It's like, if I'm going to hold on to it, I'm going to hold it through. Yeah. If it gets, I'm going to hold it through 40, 50, 60, 80. I should probably buy one now at 15. So for me, because I might buy one out of this challenge, but because I don't actually have, I forgot to put that share screen button, share. Because I don't actually have that much that's not in play, I could sell some Apple, I guess. But the other thing I'm actually thinking about, and I'll discuss it with you probably later because I got lots of Etsy to talk about, but taking a DeFi loan against the Curio card.
So what's that? Sorry.
Decentralized finance. So basically taking a loan on the Curio card being the asset. And you get a loan for a small percentage, and you put the Curio card up as collateral if you can't pay the loan back. But I'll be able to pay the loan back because I got other money on the outside as well. And then potentially you can like double down on something like that with more funds. Because at the moment, I'm only going to get $2,500 that's actually liquid. So I have to liquidate another investment, or I could borrow against one of my investments. Which I was thinking about doing. But if it does dip, if it gets down to 5, I'm for sure grabbing a few of them. If it gets down, that's probably my point. About 6 Gs, I'll grab another one.
Which is interesting, right? Because you're telling us here that you're expecting these, like you wouldn't sell at 30 or 35, but you won't buy at 15.
Right. Yeah. Same thing as the 6 to 20, but it is a tie-up of capital because I don't know when. I don't know that it'll go higher, but obviously I'm predicting it will by holding. I don't know if it'll be within a year or two, and it's like that's the tied up capital that I can't put into a bunch of Etsy ads.
Yeah, or you just smash Etsy and set the goal of earning $15,000 as fast as possible.
Yes.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Should we jump into some Etsy?
I actually have one more thing because I imagine people watching this going, NFTs, Curio cards, amazing. Where do you buy it? If someone was going to go, all right, I absolutely want one of these. Benji has guaranteed me it's going to 6 figures. Where would I find one to buy?
First of all, do your research. Not advice at all. I'll put together a video because I spoke to Matt and he's like, how would I buy one of those? I'm like, yeah, we need to put together some videos. I'll put together a video that I'll put up on this channel this week, showing people how they can get into crypto first and then into NFTs from crypto.
Amazing.
And I'll give you some resources of who to follow and who I think gives good advice in the space.
Sounds good. All right. Shall we get into some Etsy, my man?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You want me to lead the way?
Please do.
All right. So Etsy, let me close down all this NFT stuff up here. Funko, we can talk about another day. Ethereum, we can talk about if it goes up. If it doesn't go up, you don't need to know about it.
Yeah, we can ignore that for that week anyway.
All right, so we're heading over to Etsy, and here's what you have to know about Etsy. It's run by artists. It's run by people who make dog coats with the paw print on their background and like really cute stuff that people like feel really passionate about. And it's a lot of artists, and there's not many like entrepreneurs in here. And entrepreneurs always ruin everything. That's the thing. They turn everything into a game. But it's really easy to gamify this thing. And I'm lucky I work with a few entrepreneur artists. My sister's a very good artist, and she's helping me design a journal because we are selling, I should get it up again. Well, I am selling GoodNotes planners. Now, GoodNotes is an app on your iPad. that allows you to journal. I'm going to click on that ad. It costs some money, but I'll find something like this. There's an iPad Pro here. Here's a stylus. You write in your day, your calendar, you plan it out just like you would on paper, but this is all digital. Now, I personally journal, and I know Pete journals. I made my own template, which I really love, but it is so, it's a very practical journal. Like I do it very practically, and I have certain spots for like certain things in there. And what I'm learning from my girlfriend and my sister is that a lot of people, especially the Etsy crowd, they journal almost as, and they plan almost as like a meditation, and almost to like express themselves. And this is, actually, I won't pull it up, but I bought someone else's journal and it had like 600 pages with like 212 different templates, all the way down to like, oh, go to your freezer and take stock of what's in your freezer, and like tell me when it's off by. I'm like, who's going to go back to their journal day to day to look what's in their freezer? It's like, it didn't to me hit me as like practical journal. And my sister and my girlfriend both like, no, I would do that. That sounds like a fun activity. And it's more of like incredible. And it's more of like an activity. So basically I'm going to bring my sister onto the design the inside of my journal. But why are we doing journals? One, because I enjoy them. Two, because Etsy's wide open. Go back and listen to the other podcast to see the finances on Etsy. Three, I made a Etsy potential over here and basically averaged out. I'm not sure if it's big enough. You guys can make it full screen if it's not. Averaged out about the top 10 to 12 stores based on how many items they have. And these are all people who sell planners. Digital planners is my space. This is the Benji multiple. I'll get back to that in a second. And then basically tracked how many sales they made between this time here and this time here. And then times that by how many hours in a month and got their monthly sales estimate. Now, the Benji multiple is, I don't know what their average sale price is. So basically, I looked in their store, sorted it by relevance or the most purchased. So I saw like the weighted distribution over price and made a very rough estimate, tried to be a realistic estimate. But these numbers maybe 20 to 30% off in either direction. But essentially, it's a real good baseline. And I saw the average store, and I've now purchased all these planners, downloaded them, and looked at them, and some of them are terrible. The average store makes $18,000 of monthly sales. It's a digital product. That's it. Like, it's like this opportunity to be ridiculous. Like, my Curio card didn't even go up $18,000. Instead of buying Curio card, if I started a Etsy store and then made $18,000 of sales, it's like, okay, now the chain's really moving. It's not that volatile because it's your business. You got control over it. The other thing I'll add in here is I watched this girl who does well on Etsy, and I don't know if I told you this throughout the week. She was testing Etsy ads for a week. Did I tell you about this? Pete?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Did I tell you about that?
No, you didn't. I was just coughing there.
That's a great story. It's a YouTube video she did, and she's really cool. I like her. She's very personable, and she talks about her print-on-demand shirt business she runs on Etsy. But anyway, she was like, oh, I'm testing Etsy ads for a week. And she's like, I put in $50 a day for 1 week, and here are my results. I'm like, this is great. I'd love to see what sort of results Etsy are getting. So you can see the ad down here. Etsy really disguise their ads. Look at that, ad buy. You don't know that these are ads. Like, they really want people results with ads. It's, like Google highlighted in green, and like YouTube, they have the sponsored in the yellow, and Etsy, like, you don't know. And then they have another row of ads down here. Again, it's like no one knows they're clicking on an ad. But essentially, she's like, yeah, I put $50, and I only averaged like $200 of sales back per day. And I'm
per
like,
day. For a digital product.
She didn't sell a digital product. I will give her that much. But she was making a 400% ROI on ads in revenue. And I was like, oh, you don't think this is a good thing? She's like, yeah, I wouldn't really recommend it. She said, I would have preferred like $400 a day. Of course you would have, but you got $200 a day. And I'm like, I cannot wait to get into this and absolutely throw a bunch of money instead of spending 15K on a curio card, throw 15K into Etsy ads, and even if I just break even for the first month, get a really highly ranked listing, and go from there. And then the last thing I will actually say is I put together, this is a 45-page basically creation doc, which I can get through another time when I show you my end product. Basically looking at what keywords to look at it under, and some unique selling points and colors and stuff like that, things we're modeling. But essentially, as you saw in this, the average amount of items in a store is 76. Now that's brought up by this crazy person with 537, but you can see, you know, the average is really about 35 in here. And it's like 35 planners, that's a hell of a lot of planners. I don't have ideas for 35 planners apart from modeling these people. So I'm like, okay, in order to get the ball rolling, instead of spending a whole month designing the perfect planner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by selling this. This girl sells digital notebook with tabs. So it's basically just lined paper. And I'm going to make it really simple and get that up this week and start to learn the Etsy framework from that, and then build out, because like we were talking about last week, Etsy love multiple products. As you can see, the average is 76 between the top people. They love multiple products. So I want to get the ball rolling instead of perfecting the product, because perfection is the lowest standard, is a good saying that I use, because I have that perfectionism. Oh, it's not perfect, not perfect, not perfect. There's things selling $10,000 a month out there right now that are just so far from perfect that I just got to get our first one out there. So that'll be up by next week, and hopefully we'll have our first sale rolling in.
Amazing. That is unreal. And just on that, I literally just watched a video by a guy called Benji Wilson talking about minimum viable product and how you improve that over time.
Very smart guy.
Very, very smart guy who should take his own advice.
I might take that course.
It's good. And also, absolutely should.
I know what's also in that course that I'm not good at is the 20-mile march, which is the no shiny objects. And it's like, don't go dancing off in NFT land. Like,
what do you mean no shiny objects? You like literally picked up a nugget of gold and then tripped over like this diamond.
Diamond.
And then fell into a pile of diamonds. And I'm like,
it is true. It is true. The curio card was fantastic, and it probably still will be fantastic, but it won't be as fantastic as the Etsy store. It's a sexier story than the Etsy store, but this Etsy store, it should be generating $500,000 of sales a year. It's like, that's not, and that's scalable and sellable.
Very high overheads though.
I have those digital products.
Yeah. What with Etsy, right? What are the fees? Like, how does, obviously with Amazon they take a cut. How does Etsy
10%.
work? 10%.
Essentially, it's 10% once you add up all the fees together. It's like 9 point something plus processing plus 20 cents or something like that. It's about 10% before ads. And I won't go back in my screen share, but I saw that everyone who was doing very well on Etsy had a nice average price per product. So like a $22 to a $35 average price. They were the ones really pumping in the money. And then I've got, once again, step by step, but I got good ideas of how to expand the product line and really make it a brand out of it. Sort of with the far off idea is to become sort of like the digital Kiki K.
That would be amazing.
It would be. It would be.
Very good. Well, I'm just going to open the background. Etsy is obviously saying that when you said you're doing Etsy, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I wouldn't say I'm amazing at creating digital planners. I'm able to write on the one that you gave me. So I was like, I don't know how good this is going to be for me. So I thought, and I was literally just scrolling through and I was like, oh, I love Google Sheets. I spend so much of my time on Google Sheets creating different sheets that do everything for you, and it's normally wealth related. So I sort of typed in here, Google sheet, and I was like, what comes up? And I was like, oh, like budget template, expense tracker. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I typed in wealth. Oh, I spelled it better than that last time. Wealth spell. Besides
tell them about the wealth spell.
The wealth spell.
Now needs a little wealth spell on it.
I'll tell you what, if I'm buying a wealth spell, I'm not going the $18 one. I'm going the $108 wealth spell over here.
$108 wealth spell. That's fantastic.
They've made 37 sales. Who's someone that sold a lot? 335, 17, 14.
Wow.
Let's have a look at these guys. 51
That's 1,700 reviews on that
reviews,
one.
9,453 sales.
Go down to type.
Spell.
See where it says type, select an option. See what the options are.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Spell only.
Oh, you got a booster. You got a booster.
Who's buying a spell without a booster? What idiot?
Why would you buy a spell without a booster? You're just cheaping out on wealth.
You just get half the amount of money.
How do they give it? What is this? We use additional energy and spell casting to appeal to the universe on your behalf for your spell to complete in a faster time. That is exactly what do you reckon we invest between us in a wealth spell for this challenge?
Well, initially we did say there were two things we can't invest in: Ponzi schemes and wealth spells, because you didn't want someone to have an unfair advantage. And I'm willing to break that restriction.
Break that one restriction. Oh my God, I did a cord cutting spell and it worked. It's been about a week and my ex is backing off. I know it takes 3 to 4 weeks to see results, but I'm already seeing the benefits. Thank you.
What was happening? What was happening with that? That seems like a police matter, not a Etsy spell matter.
We'll refer this to my girlfriend. But anyway, if we get back to the more serious, I typed in wealth, and the thing that came up was wealth dashboard.
That's nice.
This is the kind of stuff that excites me. I sort of looked at these around here. I was like, oh, $39. People are selling a Google Sheet for $39. I like it. I like, which one was it? Where are you, dirty dog? This one here. This looked really good. It's a bestseller too. $46.80 for a Google Sheet.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at this, and you look at the different things, and it looks very pretty, very functional. You know, pre-tax savings, net income, expenses, savings and investments, debt payments, all the cool shit, right? So it's got a whole lot of things that it can do, and transactions, and just seems like a whole lot of work. Basically pulls data from zero, it almost looks like here. But all in all, like I was sort of looking at for someone who's looking to build wealth, how can I build a dashboard that helps them to be successful, and what would I want? And I sort of looked at what I've already created. So it's 154 million here. No, that's 154,000. I was like, wow, you're really
way to flex on everyone.
A little flex. You see 5,048 sales. This excited me because I'm like, I create these for myself and for other people already, but it's going, how can I make this extra pretty and extra amazing? And look at the branding within it. So I'm going to have to get help with that from someone who can see colors. But 5,048 sales. So if we jump onto My Wealth Diary, we can sort of see how many products they have here. And they've got 4 products. And one thing that I've noticed with everyone that I've looked like, I love how they said like 3 people have this in their basket. Like, make sure you buy it before it runs out.
For the copies,
they're running out of digital copies. Is that they've always got a real cheap one. So every store I've looked at always has at least one, if not a few, really cheap, like basic products. So if we click on this one, it's a financial tracker, financial independence. And it's got a little video here you can watch if you want to, and it shows you what it can do. But basically, it's a super simple little sheet to help people track like their financial independence. And you can find your safe withdrawal rate, passive income, etc. And this is for people looking to invest in the stock market, and when can they pull money out and live off of that money when that's going to be bringing in more money than they actually need to live. So it's a fantastic little tracker here for $7.80, but it's super, super basic. And I look at this and I go, well, the idea here, I believe, is that if we jump back to their store, they get a lot of reviews and a lot of sales based on selling very cheap products to the masses. And then their larger, so their $42 product then looks much more appealing because they've got a lot of backing behind them. Because if I look at 2 products and they're both $50 and one of them's got 5,000 sales and 1,000 reviews and the other's got 20 sales and 1 review, I'm going with the one that's got all the reviews, and it's really awesome, right? And that's how we think. We're social creatures. We see what other people do, and we just follow the crowd. So I think
you're saying it's almost like a gateway into their brand, where they discover the wealth dashboard and then they buy the wealth dashboard.
Well, I think yes, but I think the biggest thing is more getting sales and reviews, because, like you said, when we look at sales here, we look at reviews 163. Now that's for the whole store, right?
That one there is for just that product.
For just that product.
And then the sales is for that. So if you scroll down a little bit, I believe 160. Oh no, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. 163 reviews for that shop. And then 86 of them come from this product.
Yes. So what I was thinking, and the sales aren't for this product, that's for the whole store.
That's the whole store.
Yeah. So when people are looking at this, they're going 163 reviews. And then when they click in, they see 5,000 sales. They're going, wow, these guys are really good. But they might not have sold many of this.
Mm.
And so
That's
I
true.
think that's part of the social arb here is 5,048 sales makes me feel pretty confident.
Mm. I would think that it would almost be a 1-to-1 ratio reviews to percentage of sales. But I really am a big fan. See, it's got half of the sales come from this one. So I would almost say half the reviews come from it. I'd almost say half the sales potentially. Might be wrong.
Yeah, potentially.
But it is Etsy for some reason, they just love bulk products. They want you to have as many products in that store. And I do think that people go from they discover one of your products, they go to your store and they shop which one suits them best. Because even these planners, it's like, here's a mid-year planner that's in gray. You click on it, you go to the store, and you can see it in pink, you can see it in black, you can see it in red. Instead of it being like an option, for some reason people pop it in their store. So I think they're all like little gateways back to your brand.
Yeah, definitely. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at the moment is going for the Etsy store I'm creating. What's my first or my minimum viable product that I can get out there that's going to get 5-star reviews? So it's still going to be really good, but it's going to be a small chip of this whole big pie, right? So it can be this small thing, and I'm going to try and have like 10 of these, and then one week just buy it all together.
Love that, dude. That's brilliant. It's great that we didn't discuss minimum viable product, but we both came to the conclusion of like, let's skip our ideal for a few weeks and get the ball rolling independently, which is fantastic.
I'm very, very excited about. Well, the whole reason I was like, I have to do this quickly is because I'm like, Benji's going to be moving on this quickly, so I have to get something out there. And I know I'm a perfectionist who's going to sit on these equations forever, going, "Oh, what about this and this and this?" And
that's so funny, man. Because on this side of the thing, I'm like, Pete's such a beautiful man, and he's like the influence that you're having on this side being like, I gotta grind on that Etsy store because I know Pete's over there like tinkering around with his wealth spells, and I can't I can't handle you and a wealth spell.
Leviosa.
But it is funny because it's like, okay, we're both come a decent way from 30K, but instead of being like, oh, let's all take a coffee break, we're just like, get like as many stokes, whatever, as many irons in that fire as possible, so that there's no more diversification, less risk. So I'm excited to get those Etsy stores pumping. Now I feel like those stores, they will take us into our first array of experience of 6-figure land.
Definitely. And also starting the Amazon FBA business. And we'll put the link below. We started running the YouTube channel on step-by-step the process to go from $0 a month where we are to $10,000 a month revenue. So we're super excited. And we sent off to all the different suppliers today. So we're starting to get quotes coming back in. And from that, we're going to go, all right, we're going with these guys. This is our shipping. This is our logistics. And we're going to have everything hopefully ready to go within the next 1 to 2 weeks and then start selling. We'll start creating, then ship it over to the US and start selling.
Hell yeah. How long do you think manufacturing will be on that?
That's a fantastic question to ask Matt.
Very good. I'll link up your first episode was linked in the last episode of this. So but I'll link up the whole channel on the bottom of this episode as well. And hopefully Matt can answer that question for us over there.
Hopefully he can. We can be doing another video in the next day or two as well.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So so obviously Etsy is a big thing we're both working on at the moment. I guess from a perspective of like growing that as fast as possible, you talked about ads and putting ad revenue into that. Yeah. What are your thought processes? Where do you see this Etsy business going for you in the next sort of like 1 to 2 months? Like, what are your goals with it?
My short-term goal, I want to get to 5 figures a month as quickly as possible. 10K a month of revenue.
And that's US?
US. Because we'll be smashing, which is another thing I'd like to chat about in another episode, is playing the currency game. I'll touch on it very closely here, because I'm almost 100% in US dollars. In this challenge, I think I'm 100% in US dollars, but I'm counting in Australian dollars, which means I'm also playing the currency game. And it's like, there's a part of me that's almost like, that's a win-win, because one, if I have the tailwind of the Australian dollar dropping because we're handling COVID way worse than the US, we're a lot behind, the economy's not doing well, I have like a 10% sort of tailwind, which is exactly what you need when you're trying to turn 30K into a mil. You need some of these lucky breaks. But what if I have a 10% headwind? I'm like, it's just going to make me work harder. So I'm like, I potentially might just roll the dice and gamble the portfolio on the Australian dollar, which is not financial advice, but I'm considering it. Or I may hedge at some point soon and get into some Tyro Webjet style stuff.
I'd be interested to see where you go with that one. Yes, because I'm everything in mine is Australian dollars, except Amazon. Actually, I'm not sure what it's going to be like, because we're a registered Australian company. So I think we're going to be getting paid in Australian dollars, even though we're selling in the US.
You'll probably keep it in US though, because you'll be reinvesting it straight to your supplier. So they'll probably just take US.
Don't get that. We'll see.
We'll have a currency episode. I'm sure everyone will be excited
episode.
to tune in for that. What were we talking about before that?
For that,
Etsy.
Matt.
Oh, Etsy goal. 10K a month.
Etsy goal. 10K a month. US. Yes. Awesome.
What's that time frame? That's my first goal. So time frame looks like the next week, first product up. The next 4 weeks, the big product up. So the main planner.
The big daddy.
The big daddy. So I would say 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
To 10K. 10 weeks, you know, on what's your motto? Under promise, over deliver.
Under promise, over deliver.
Over promise, under deliver.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that a lot better. Over promise, we can do it in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, see you there. Yeah,
Check
I would say
here.
I would say, so it's week 7. I would say week 17. I'd like to be hitting the 5 figures a month. I need to be at that point.
That'd be nice.
What about you?
For me, I mean, mine's in Australian dollars, so I'm cheating now. But I actually set the goal of hitting 5K a month in 2 months. And now I feel kind of inadequate. So
get that wealth spell pumping.
So I might take the wealth spell and we'll go from there. But I think I'm still going to stick with, I'm going to be aiming for 5K a month within 2 months, because this is going to be my first time selling on Etsy and understanding everything. I think once I get this first product up and I can see how does it sell, how do you run ads, what sort of like conversion am I getting, what does the market want? Like, do they want the kind of things that I make, or do I need to adapt a little bit more to what's already within the market? I think the more I understand that to start with, I think it might be slower getting off the ground, but then we'll be able to shoot up.
Can you screenshot or record your top, say, 3 or 4 competitors' sales numbers, and then next week we'll figure out how much they're selling a week?
Yeah.
That you might find that they're just absolutely rocking it, and that 5K might turn to 20.
We'll see. There's a lot about budgeting on there too, and I think I can play in that space.
Yes, dude, that's the great thing about Etsy wanting so many products. It's like, I'll give you all the products you want. I'll give you 100
have the
of
products.
Them.
Let's do
you
the
can
products.
have them all, especially because they're digital. But I'm also looking at because on my own journals, they people love sticker packs. People love handwriting, practicing templates to make handwriting stickers. Cut them out and put them in. Some of these journals I was on TikTok. I've been deep in that research. That 45-page document. I've just been 3 days of becoming like a journal head. They're called Bujos, bullet journalists. They're the physical world ones.
The physical ones, such losers.
I'm not one of those. No, but I've definitely gone undercover and become one, and that was on TikTok. And it's like, some of these journals are beautiful. Like they're like they do cover pages for each month and stuff, and it's just like ridiculous artwork. But I'm excited to fill out the product line. We're thinking like some people light candles while they do their journals, and it's like further down the line we'll have a journaling candle range, or like a the paper screen protectors for iPads of those ones. What was the other one I was thinking? Stylus little grips were also big. But there's like 50 or 60 products that we can really bring out for very low overhead, especially once we build up a brand. The key though, and hopefully Etsy's not watching this, is trying to steal email addresses. Trying to collect customer information so that we can cross-sell them will be something we'll have to figure out.
We shall figure that out. And just on my side, one thing I was looking at with the wealth journals, not the wealth spells, the wealth journals and the wealth dashboards that are out there, is they're very financially focused, which you probably like, no shit, Peter, like it's a bloody wealth journal, mate. I think the opportunity there is putting habits within this, because I'm like, in order to be financially wealthy, you need a good set of financial habits and understandings. So I plan on mine on having like a page which are financial habits. And then you would sort of go, when do I do this? How do I do this? And tick it off daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc. And then that links into this dashboard. And then it also gives you ideas. So like on each thing, like, if you've got too many expenses, well, then there's a sheet on how to decrease expenses, common expenses. What could you look at? Like what are strategies? Or you need to increase income. Cool, we'll go sell shit on Etsy. It sounds easy. Or you can buy a curio card.
Or just link them to this podcast.
Link them to the podcast. But having all these different resources, so you go like, I'm struggling here, because that's what I noticed is heaps of them are like, you're shit here. And you're like, damn it, that sucks. I'll come back tomorrow and see if I'm less shit. So that's the big thing, is that it doesn't actually provide value. Like, it's a good way to track things, but it doesn't help you. So I'm like, how can I help people through basic habits of wealth creation?
That's nice. I really like that. A little education. That's big. Very big.
Very good. So
this week,
if we maybe round up with what we're working on, Benji.
I will be watching more DumbMoney. That Funko trade, which I didn't talk about, but we'll talk about that maybe in a month or so. It looks very enticing to me. I really like it. And they had another one, the California drought was their latest video, which is basically talk about trades that are going to benefit off the California drought. I'm not getting into that one. I don't know too much about that stuff. But it was very interesting to watch. They're going to have another video this week. I'm probably put some of my money in there because I'm doing that DumbMoney number one. Number two, I'm actually what I'm going to start doing, we spoke about this, Pete, is summarizing those DumbMoney videos that go for an hour, because they just sit on lives like we do here. And they talk about it, but the gold is like only 4 minutes long. So I'm going to put those into little videos and put them here on this channel. Don't expect that this week, but within the next few. Second thing I'm going to do is get that first Etsy product up. And fingers crossed, first sale.
So good. In the background, and this happened 17 minutes ago, someone sent me a message and said, can you make a TikTok of 3-minute summaries summarizing your YouTube videos for NFA? My attention span is so shit, but I really want to watch it.
That's hilarious.
Legit, 17 minutes ago, someone told me that.
That's hilarious, because I'm literally like, they do what we do, which is the easy way to make content, podcasts. And honestly, the more enjoyable way to chat to each other. Yeah. But it's not what most people want. They have such short attention spans. They just want that.
So maybe we look at some short, like these are the snippets of the things that, like the recap video halfway through the week.
Shotgun nut, Megan now.
Shotgun, getting a VA, who's chopping it up.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
2x speed, I like it. Very good. All right. And what I'm focusing on this week is going to be my Etsy store. I'm going to have my first product up tonight.
So, Whoa. Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Bro, yes. That's ridiculous.
I'm on the night shift, you see.
That's
how it works.
Fantastic.
So first product will be going up tonight, and that's going to be a big focus of mine this week, is just making sure I'm moving towards having 3 products by the end of next week. So because each product I make is going to create the large products. So I'm like, how long does it take me to create 3 reasonably basic sheets? Probably about 3 hours per sheet. There's no reason I can't get that done by Wednesday.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Moving and shaking, my friend.
Way to make me go first on the intentions for the week.
Just this one little thing.
I
feel like mine are more simple. I feel like mine are more simple than yours because I've already got it created. A lot of that. I just have to refine it.
Somewhat, yeah. Somewhat. I'm also outsourcing the creation of mine, which will be a cost. Oh, actually, what my cost is long story short, I get 70% of the profits. That's the shortest version of it.
Long story short, I don't think that was a long story at all. I think it was just a very short story.
Nobody
that you made shorter
anymore.
70% of the profits. There we go.
Yeah, basically no upfront costs, but I'll take 70% of the profits. It folds into one of my other businesses essentially.
Yeah, beautiful. And the other thing I'll be working on this week is the Amazon stuff with Matt, but I won't have too much to do there. It's more supporting him because he is crushing it.
Yeah, I spoke to him. That's exciting.
Very, very exciting. And I may look into NFTs a little bit just to try and understand, because I don't understand much of that space at the moment. Not so much looking to buy, but go, well, at what price would I buy if it would have some volatility in the market? If it dropped down to 10, is that a worthwhile buy? I feel like if I can understand that a little bit better, then I can take advantage of opportunities.
Sniff around.
Just
let us know
what you find. Weird. Yeah.
All right, stud.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, my man. It's been an absolute ass whooping, and I feel very inadequate right now.
Well,
$36,000.
I'm excited to see what you're doing next week. That's the only thing that keeps me grinding. I'm like, yeah. As soon as he knows how long my snout currently is, he's got some potions brewing.
Oh, mate, there's a feet pick coming out, man.
Yeah, bro. Well, I'm excited though, because I'm excited to. We're week 7. We're finally really left the ground floor of up 200, down 400. Hoping we can sustain, but I'd like to see one of us cross 6 figures in the next 3 months maybe.
I reckon if we get these Etsy stores up and running, if we get the Amazon store too going, I don't see why we can't be getting those things moving and shaking.
I agree. This is not financial advice. This is somewhat business advice.
Somewhat business advice.
Not much risk in starting a digital Etsy store.
There is not too much risk. Amazing. We will see you in the next episode, my friends.
See you guys.
Bye for now.